Take the time to investigate into your heart, to open its pearly gates into the kingdom of your creative spirit. Become closer and more intimate with your feelings in this embrace to discover new pathways within and without. In this sacred partnership, you will discover new frontiers, new plateaus, new parts of you that require expression from a relationship. Today is the day that you can reclaim this kinship with yourself, to take it upon yourself to be true to how you feel in the moment, to connect with the reality that perfection only knows the present moment, that perfection exists here now, no matter what is going on within or without. In the rough or the smooth, there is for you lessons in that situation or feeling, for good or for bad. And the one that is and the one that is connected to their heart in these experiences in the present moment are able to, through that wisdom, discern between the wheat and the chaff, to connect with what is true to your growth, to your heart, to your highest expression in the long term, though it may seem on appearance not so. So today is a reminder to connect with that that heart wisdom that is ever present in the present moment, and to understand that perfection truly exists in that state as you embody fully what you experience here now, and to understand that path is winding. It is not fixed, it is ever changing, like the seas. The movement of the water is continuous through different terrains, through different weathers. But regardless of the change, there is wisdom in all movement, in all states, in all sensations. And if you are not connected to the wisdom of your heart, it is easy to become lost to the movements, to be lost in the definition, often negative, of life within and without. Though through feeling, through connection with the heart, we are able to tap into a broader spectrum of wisdom that ironically expands beyond what we see in the present moment. And the mind can only see directly in front, whereas the heart can see 360. And the heart is your key to yourself, to your path, to your truth, whereas the mind, through birth, through society, through our communities, our families, our friends, our relationships, etc., has biases, has beliefs that some are healthy and some are not, whereas the heart will remain true to your wisdom, true to your state, true to your authenticity, eternally, always, regardless. And that is worth fighting for, that is worth remaining rooted in the present for. It is ultimately the key to you and your highest expression, regardless of where the mind will want to wander in definition of good and bad. The heart will remain true to your authenticity in all situations, in all movement, within and without. And to, in this moment, stress the importance of anchoring into that wisdom, because as the world internally as individuals and externally in society transitions and transforms and shifts and moves and becomes confusing and chaotic, it is those who are anchored into their own light, their own heart wisdom, that will be able to navigate to a fertile state, a state of growth, a state that has used the movement, the changes going on in the world, within and without, to their benefit. And that requires letting go of the story, the narrative that the mind may project or has learned as correct, and to, in the presence, through connection with the heart, to let go, attempt to incrementally let go of these narratives of the mind of what is good, what is bad, what is proper, what is improper, and to, regardless of what beliefs you may have learned over the years through external judgment or information, that to trust, to use these moments as a test of trust to your heart, as a test of strength to your resolve in a present moment, to connect with your heart wisdom, to embody the light within, regardless of what you see without, regardless of what you feel within. Because in this current state in the world, there is change. It is undeniable, and those not grounded in a holistic state of themselves, where they are only tuned into their mind and the definitions of good and bad in the world, will lose equilibrium if they are not also grounded in their hearts, which has a deeper connection to the substrate of movements going on the surface, that will be able to navigate those through to new opportunities, to new perspectives and insights, as we move on from a different state of being, one where we have forced definitions onto the world, where we have fought over those definitions through war, through loss of life, to gain ownership of definitions that the mind, the intellect has created, the societies have been built around, and through those societies and nations across the world, through definitions created, have fought against one another for thousands of years. We begin to move away from that into a heart state, a state where nations and people's identities aren't founded upon definition that the intellect has created and then seeks to force onto the world, like stone with limited movement, rigid in the world's interpretation and rigid in their interpretation of themselves. And we move into a more watery, heart-based perspective, where we are able to be nimble in the present moment, flexible to new ideas, new information, as we have a union with the heart and the mind, where they are in partnership. And this transition will be uncomfortable, as we have not been taught in society to acknowledge the heart as a source of wisdom or information or of learning. And that will be new. It will be a new language that humanity will have to learn, to display, to act upon, which has its own challenges, to get past the belief that the intellect has it all figured out, and to actually introduce the heart and to act upon the heart's wisdom that a lot of people haven't done or been taught to or considered. But as more people take it upon themselves to act authentically in their own heart, the dominoes will begin to shift in momentum to that new state, into that new human ultimately. And that's where we're going, because the world built upon definitions created by intellect that we then fight over is becoming less grounded in reality or in the energy of our day. And my only advice would be to go with the flow of the momentum of life, rather than clinging on to ideas, beliefs and definitions and laws and nations that have been founded in stone and fought over, and to begin just to let that go, let the waters gently move them away, and be part of that process. Because fighting over the old definitions and projections of the intellect are becoming less and less useful and fruitful. I mean, you can continue to fight for them, but the reward for them in the world, in the material world, that once, people could go to wars and people would, form societies around these intellectual definitions of the world, and it would create tension through different groups. If we are connected with our heart, which is the momentum of the day, of the age we're entering, then there is less fragmentation, because we are in connection with the heart, connection with all. Whereas in the mind, again, to reiterate, there's biases to culture, to location, to life experience throughout, from youth to current day. And so the intellect will have its own version of life as it wants to force onto the world. Whereas in the heart, in our own heart, we are connected to the human heart, which is our connection and our bridge to all. And in that, we will come to create our own lives, inner and outer, and who knows what that looks like, but it will certainly be a harmonic existence rather than a division of the world, both in border or in definitions of the world or in law, or it would be more of a human order rather than a national order or a cultural order, or less dominant in those areas, more of a balance. So will you be part of the process and begin to feel yourself relentlessly, with dedication, always in the present moment? And if so, what will you bring? What gifts will you bring to your own, not only to yourself, but to the world through this process? Because that is ultimately where this leads. Because in that connection, you then are able to filter through your contribution to humanity, to the human collective heart that we all share. So I'll leave that for today. Until next time, bye.